good evening, everybody. Welcome to a Monday night Airfix and Chill. We're a bit thin on the ground tonight. I think Luke is working. Nigel might be in. I've not had an email back from him. I've put it in the Discord. So hopefully some more may join in and talk about the subject matter tonight. John's just nipped off. He'll be back in a minute. But Good evening, James. How are you?
I'm all right. Not dead.
Good.
Just being busy doing bits and pieces, running around after me mum.
Yeah.
So she's gone digital. She's got a full monitor now. So
gone digital. The bionic woman. We can rebuild her.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a relief if I go down the workshop. You see.
Yeah.
So I've come up in the workshop before, and she's been sat on the floor in the system, and I think, oh god, how long has she been sat down there for?
Yeah, I get that, definitely. How are you then, John? Are you doing all right with your chemo? Everything going well for you, my friend?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So, I was out for my daughter's graduation, a week and a half ago, and so I had to postpone it by a week, and it went okay. And then, but Friday will be a big day. I'm having I'm getting biopsied in my chest cavity. So
Fantastic.
Yeah. Always something to look forward to.
Yeah, but, it's progress. It's it
is what it is.
No pain, no gain, right?
Yeah. But, you're looking healthy though, John. It's just they've never got the hair back, have you, mate? That's the problem.
Yeah, he's glowing, isn't he? So
yeah.
Now you have an excuse, John.
Yeah. I look like Mr. Rumbold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew a bloke at work who had this massive beard, like proper, like bushy beard. He was completely bowed at the top. They used to call him the upside down man. They used to call him the upside down man.
Or like that Simon Whistler guy, right? There's this British guy that has all those channels. And
yeah. And you, Alex, you doing well? Shop doing okay?
Yeah, toddling along, So.
Yeah. I was
Nigel will be in later.
Yeah, Nigel will be in later. When I saw this kit on your website, I had to buy it off you, Alex. It's phenomenal.
Nice,
it's nice. An absolutely stunning kit. I've done a review on it.
I saw.
It's going to be straight into my on my pile of death.
Tiny though, isn't it? The actual aircraft.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Yeah, but the detail on it is second to none. The only thing that worried me was those intakes, because it's like a two-part intake, isn't it, that go on either wing.
Well, I'll tell you which bit worries me, which ties into the subject tonight very nicely, is, the pitot tube at the end.
Yeah.
It's got those 4 little blades. It's just like, fuck that.
Yeah. I did see that on there. But, sometimes they've got to do it that way. It's... Sometimes, because they are tiny. There's no two ways about it. They are very, very tiny. But I sometimes just think, would have been easier just to have molded them. But then it would. But it's slide molded as well, isn't it? Side molded as well. So it's incredible. And the fact again, it's a Ukrainian company.
Yep.
A Ukrainian company. And all right, on their website, it says quite clearly, we're not doing any orders now. We're being attacked by Russia. End of subject. You know what I mean? But the product is still getting onto the shelves of shops. And, when I saw it, I thought, I've just got to buy that. It was, I think I went on your, I was bored one night and I thought, let's have a look at what you got in your shop for sale. And I saw that. I thought, bang, that's mine. Getting that, definitely. So, but again, resin, photo etch. We're going to talk about aftermarket tonight because I think it's becoming massive. Even with what we've heard on recently about certain kits not quite making the grade. and the only way around it is to buy resin wheels. And I just thought to myself, let's have a chat about the benefits of resin, photo etch, aftermarket decals, anything aftermarket really. And if you have any questions in the chat, we've got so many people watching already, 130 people watching, and they're all basically saying good afternoon to each other or good evening. So it's all good. We got the usual cracking. So we've got Celtic West and Hobby Time, Craig Jukes is here, Darren May, Gremlins, Modeling Mayhem, Stephen Haynes is also in, Sprue and Glue is in. Nice to see you, my friend. Not seen you for a long time. Dave Markey, he's also in. All the regulars are in, so this is good. It's all good to see you guys. So, but before we jump into that, I'm going to make an announcement, if that's all right with everyone. So I've had my final meeting tonight. We had a Zoom call. I've now seen the website for outlawpaints.co.uk, and we've basically signed it off apart from a few things. At the moment, they've put all the colors into solids, and they've got to now separate them into military. So you have military, then you have subcategories. They've coded it so that if you search a particular term on that website, whether it's a Humbrol color or a Tamiya color, anything that's in description box, it will now come up as a search result, which is what I wanted. So that over the progression, if there are people that have used Outlaw Paint and they say this color here, even though it says Australian Rail Brown, it's the exact same color as a Tamiya brown, we can add that to description. So if you type in XF whatever, it will come up with the idea is to build on that. So we can expand it a lot more. But yeah, so basically that's where we're at. We've signed off it. We've got what's taking long is that the photos we've got are in Dropbox. And because we're using CSV files, it didn't like it. So we've had to manually import all the pictures onto each listing, which is taking forever. And then they didn't realize that there's a palette color as well. So when you see the bottle will come up, the one you want. When you click on that tab, it will then come up with a bottle and then a square palette color. So you can see the palette color as well. But that's something else. But it's another 48 hours worth of work. So we've got two guys on it. We spent a lot of money on this site, and it will be, there's options there for blogs. So if you build a model kit and you want to write a little speak, something about it, you built this and use this paint, blah blah blah, we can copy and paste that into a blog and then advertise your channel or your Instagram or whatever. We've got all that facility as well, which brings us on to this here, which is the Outlaw Paints. We've got them. We've actually paid a megabucks to ship them across from Australia by plane.
Wow.
We're having 20 of each color in stock. Ignore the chrome. That's because we've had a lot of people inquiring about the chrome. So you're going to have your dark Amelsheet grey, which is basically your around the cabin, what they call it, your deck color. You've got the Oxford blue, you've got the signal red, the solid, the bold yellow. So if you want to do your own stripes, you've got the red and the yellow there, but also the yellow is slightly off because it's almost the perfect match for their new uniforms. So if you do have figures to go with it, that yellow is bang on the Helly Hansen yellow as well. It's very. I've looked at it. You only seen it by a picture, but you'll get away with it as a stripe, or you just use the decal, obviously. But that yellow is almost spot on. I think it's bang on to the Helly Hansen. What's it called? Helly Hansen uniforms that they now wear. Okay, And remember, we went and looked on the websites, we trawled websites, and we got the genuine code. So you've got your BS627, your BS557, your BS363, BS537, 105, and 632. And your light aircraft grey is inside the cabin, I believe. So there's your 6 colours there, and then we've got the chrome. So, and they're actually on the plane now. So hopefully we will have them in the shop. We're not going to do it as a set, but we've got 20 of each colour coming in. We think most people will just buy the orange and the blue. I think a lot of people have dark Admiralty grey anyway, but we've actually mixed them.
Yeah, dark Admiralty grey is the one for the F-35B.
But if you've got that colour in Tamiya, you're not going to buy, unless you want to. Obviously, you can do. But I think so. We thought about putting them into sets and selling them for 40 quid a pop, but we said no. We think that a lot of people won't bother with the red because they'll use the decal instead. It depends which kit they're doing. Whether they're going to be doing the starter set one, or which I think a lot of people will, or they're going to do the 7 class release that came out last week. I think you've got stock, haven't you, Alex? Lifeboat, haven't you?
Hasn't been released yet, so I've got the 7, but not the Shannon.
Yeah, I mean, you got the 7 in stock, haven't you? So, but yeah, like I said, that's basically it. We're going to put them up on the site this week. When they arrive here, the first thing I'm going to do is take them out of the bag, and I got me photo booth up, and I'm going to take proper pictures, get the palette right, and then put them live. So if people want to do the lifeboat colours in Outlaw, we've got them. But we've had them specially shipped across for the launch. They weren't going to get here else on the boat. We put in a massive order to top up the military ranges that we've got, and that should be here in the end of July, beginning of August. But there's a lot of colours already on there. There's a lot of solids. Military we're down on, obviously. We have got quite a lot of German, got a lot of Japanese. We've got a lot of Australian colours, but the UK military ones we're down on. So, but as soon as the site goes live, that's the crack. We're going to be the site will probably go live Friday. So keep an eye out on your email. I've had so many emails of people just wanting to sign up, which is really good. And we didn't want to start doing pre-orders because we think that was the wrong way. Let's get it all up, get it all together, and then everybody can then jump on and buy whichever paints they so wish, and get it going. So that's it. Final thing I was going to show you is if you're an Airfix club member, so it is worth signing up, becoming an Airfix club member. You've got the chance to go to their press day in June. So there'll be Airfix are taking a load of the press guys down to Poole to the RNLI, and there's a competition for club members to be part of the day. So if you're a club member, go on to airfix.com, to the website, airfix.co.uk, in it. Go to the members, sign in, go to your member section, and there'll be a page there for you to sign in and see if you're a winner. It's a fantastic day out. It's a really good day out. And they feed you. That's it. And they feed you. Yeah. So there you go.
But I do say that you've got to make your own to get your hotel and everything yourself. So
yeah, to be fair, there's some nice hotels in Poole.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's good. Right, so that's me for announcements. Don't need anything else to announce. As I said, apart from those paints are going to be hopefully here and be on the site by Friday. So let's just move all them out. So, right, I thought Nigel might be in by now to talk about this, but you know what? Right, we talk about the expense of scale modelling, and there was a debate about the price of the decals for this new lifeboat that they're doing it for £9.99, and basically you're buying it to get one name and a couple of numbers, and I get that, I do get that, but how would you have done it anyway? But I was just looking through some of the decal sheets of Aftermarket that I've bought in the last 2 or 3 years, and I've spent nearly 25 quid on a decal sheet before. It was a Flyby one. And I was just wondering, with the cost of scale modeling, to get the right scheme, to get resin wheels, there's an added cost to that as well. And sometimes, as what Sully will tell you, you spend more on the Aftermarket than you do on the actual kit itself. Is there a point that you guys get to where you think this is getting silly now? Or you're the kind of people that will just build out of the box? What about you, Alex? Are you an out of the box builder, or do you like to go for extra resin and decal sheets and stuff?
I'm a bit of both. So I think the joy of an out of box build, especially today when kits are getting so good, like the Spitfire, the 124 Spitfire from Airfix, a lot of ICM kits, a lot of Tamiya kits. You don't really have to go to the Aftermarket. If you just go with a few simple, like homemade things, like some lead wire for brake lines and things on, the undercarriage and stuff, you can make a better model than probably, some of the best models of 20, 30 years ago. However, there are the odd ones where you just think, I really want to, push the boat out on this, or this is special in some way, or it's just better represented in the Aftermarket for whatever reason, additional research or something, and then you think, yeah, we can go for that. And I think with the advent of 3D printing in resin now, it's actually made that a lot easier. So before you had to wait for, Alba or CMK or whoever to do the right set for the version that you wanted. Now there's so many ways you can go online, go on Cults, go on Thingiverse and stuff, and probably find what you're looking for. If you've got a 3D resin printer or somebody who, with one, it's a very cost-effective way of doing it. So it makes it much more accessible as well. You don't have to ship things across the ocean, So it's a bit of both for me. I think you can't overestimate the joy of an out-of-box build, without having to worry about all the hassle and dealing with resin and photo etch and stuff. But sometimes it is nice just to push the boat out. So
Andy Wilson, I'm out of the box, but spend too much on figures and things like mini art vegetable crates for little big yeah.
And mini art cheeses as well.
Yeah, I get your cheese in. Question: 3D print or Aftermarket? Assuming the files exist for 3D prints, or can you design them? I think the pleasure's in the design. I think a lot of people do it. The problem is that
there's a lot of companies out there that cater for 3D printing.
Yeah. But it's, for me, like the other day, there was a chap who was talking about he bought this figure and he snapped the leg off because they are brittle. I dropped mine on the floor and broke it. It just fell off the bank onto carpet and broke. Luckily, I was able to glue it back together. But he picked it up in his hand, and next thing, he felt a real bad stinging in his hand. When he opened up his hand, the resin was still wet inside his figure and was landed on his hand. And then by the time he was able to clean it up, it got caught in the sunlight of his room and it hardened. So he wasn't able to put the leg back on. So you've got to be careful of that. I understand that. And also there's two types of resin. You've got depending on what you do, I guess, you've got your resin 3D print, and then you've also got the filament, haven't you? I don't see a lot of filament, I don't see a lot happening with the filament side. I don't think it
doesn't have to be.
Well, apart from Exmos.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think about getting one. I've got a resin 3D printer. It's one of those 420 nanometer UV Anycubic ones. It's 4K. For me, it's more than enough because I will rarely print stuff out myself. But it's great if you can find the file or whatever. You can find pre-printed, UV, resin stuff, Aftermarket for not too bad. It's not too, especially like seats for the F-15. I paid less than $10 for two seats that were fantastic, and you know, the time that you take to slice files, you know, find them, slice them, print them, the materials, clean all your gear. You know what I mean? $10. Okay, yeah, I'll just pay $10, right? Yeah.
And also, I suppose if you buy the file and you know somebody's got a 3D printer, you can whack them a couple of quid to cover their costs to get it printed as well, I guess. Yeah.
The other nice thing about that is that so I've just done an F15, as many of us have.
Yeah.
Got aftermarket. Sorry, I got the files as John did for the exhausts. But those are scalable. So if I'm going to do a 1/72 or another 48 scale in the future, I can go. Thank you.
Is it easy to scale up? Oh, he's got a club sandwich.
Oh man, he hasn't been fed.
I'm more of a coronation chicken guy. But yeah, you know, I'm seeing it more now. You know, when people think about aftermarket, they think about the resin. You know, about the wheels. I don't see a lot of like lead cast anymore. I remember years ago that Airfix released the Harrier with the cast undercarriage. Do you remember that at all? You don't see a lot of that anymore, do you? But that's
you sometimes see the metal undercarriage in like trumpeter kits or hobby boss kits, like the big scale ones, and sometimes in the aftermarket they tend to be brass, I think. But and then
because the white metal stuff tends to sort of buckle under the weight.
And white metal got expensive. So the cost of like the raw material went up. I think in the early noughties and stuff hasn't really come down. So it's a relatively expensive. It used to be quite an easy way of doing things, low melt alloys. But now resin's just easier, cheaper, you know, more accessible.
See, another thing for aftermarket is the fact of weight, isn't it? You know, people don't want to put weight in the nose, so they would buy that white metal stuff to, you know, stop it being a tail to it. There's wings ways right. It's you know, it's good. You know, I said the other thing about like aftermarket is, you know, and this is what I found beautiful about this kit I bought this week, the Fairy Delta. It came with a mask set inside, and you know, it's only a little square, but it's very rarely you buy kits with a masking set. I always think it's a missed trick, you know, from model manufacturers. They don't put a masking set in. And I suggested, why don't they go down the decal route? You know, create masking sets on the decal page. And they've never got back to me on that because
I see them do the silhouettes. For the canopies.
I was just looking for that very thing, James. So this, I used this for the first time. This template on the Marauder, it works great.
So what you actually you put the tape on and cut around it, do you?
So put that over the tape, just cut around it. Then you got the mask, but they fit perfectly. I mean, obviously they make the kits, so they're going to get it right. You'd hoped. But yeah, I mean, I masked these windows on the back of the kit, and you know, really nice and crisp. You know, first time didn't have any issues at all.
I still think there is definitely sway in testing out whether you can make masking sets out of decal sheets. I know that Pramjit said that, but once you gloss it, you know, you do your final gloss or your matte, you seal it in. But I don't think that would matter. I think that because it's so thin and you just have to water it down, it should just peel off without any problems. There's more to it.
If you've got a decal on the window or whatever, you should be able to put some liquid mask sort of in the middle. There's like an anchor. The use with liquid mask is it's not great around the edges and stuff where a decal is. So I would have thought that would have. There's more testing, Moss.
I think we need to get a decal sheet, and then, you know, I've got one here actually somewhere of and cut them out and
or not decal sheet. Moz, you want to get the blanking panels you used to do for when you were renumbering locos. You used to do blanking panels because they're fairly large decals.
Yeah.
The other thing I've thought of is using like one of these, like ICM Supply. I've got a friend who's got a laser cutter, and actually wondering if you could, like, create a file. I think they use vector files, but because this is black and white, I think you'd be able to do that, so that you could just. I know Tamiya do sheets of masking tape, and then you could cut it out on the laser cutter. So
yeah.
But again, it's like the Cricut, isn't it? It's like is it Cricut? Is it called, or is it Crickets or Cricut with the blade?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they burn it. Because I don't think you could use a laser because it would burn, wouldn't it? And it would.
I don't know.
I don't
know because you use a laser on like acrylic, which has a paper sheet, like a plastic paper sheet on one side. So,
but does that paper sheet burn though?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, all you've got to look at is on eBay for how quick the masking sets come out for, say, the latest Airfix tooling. Literally within a week.
Yeah.
I mean, having said that, they're not that much, are they? The masking sets.
No.
I know. You spend about £6 on one. It's not just the price of the masking set; it's the cost of the postage as well, isn't it? It's Royal Mail's just getting absolutely ridiculous. It's like to send something tracked 48 up to it can be small envelope or through padded envelope. It's still £2.70.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think it's. I mean, 6 or 8, or I think I spent £10. I think it was £9.99 on an Edward set, a 2-sided masking set, so you can mask the inside, spray it on the inside, and do it on the outside. And then I forgot and left 4 of the ones on the inside of the Beaufort. Managed to get them off, but I mean, to me, it's what value it brings, isn't it? It's like there's the Mitsubishi Sally that ICM do. I think a masking set for that is worth its weight in gold because it's got about 1,000 windows, right?
Yeah.
And if you had to cut all of those out, or even paint liquid mask on each of those, you're tearing your hair out. So paying a tenner for that, I think, is that's money well spent. So I guess it goes on. Would you pay £10 for a masking set for this? Probably not. For me, because the value of that, I can do that very easily myself. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
Horses.
When I got, because Edard are the beasts, aren't they, for their masks?
Yeah.
Nigel will disagree with you there. It's art scale kit.
Art scale kit, the best part,
or Army of One, or
One Man Army.
Yeah,
One Man Army. Yeah. But that was $5.99 from eBay. That was for the zero from the 1/72 scale zero.
About $9.
I got CT scale here as well, which is for the Messerschmitt 410, and that was quite expensive actually.
That's it, isn't it, Moss? I mean, you paid $5.99 for that zero set. I mean, the zero itself. What is it? £10, £11?
$8.99. They were. The original zero was in the Lidl starter set range, wasn't it?
Yeah. So then it's just like you're paying a lot, relatively. Yeah. That's almost as much as the kit on a mask set.
Yeah, there's a lot in this one. This Messerschmitt one. There's a lot. I don't even see that on the screen there. If I can get the angle, if I put the light on. Does that make it better?
Yeah, you've got an internal set for on the ME 410.
Is it internal as well? Is it?
It's internal set, yeah.
Twice as much work.
That was a lot of money. And I haven't started building the 410 yet. But they've got quite a few there. They brought out the Lightning, the F-35 Lightning 2. They've got a masking set for that as well. That's a starter set.
How much is that?
I don't know.
There's there's only the one bit to mask on it, isn't there?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
only that one. So they've done one for the hover. As I was saying, going through them, just looking. These are just the other mask sets available. These, you know, the Vintage Classics, the Domini T1, the SRM1 hovercraft.
I mean,
The
they're like
Avalanche.
£8 or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah. And you
Well,
get a
I
mask
can remember that a certain kit that Moz recommended on his channel, the Raiden, the Tamiya's Raiden, that's a 50-year-old kit, or it's 51-year-old kit now. Of course, the masking set was literally non-existent. Then I found a company that do them.
Yeah.
Which is Dead Decals. So
Yeah. But yeah, you got the landing light to be used to mask the light cover on J6. There's a lot of information on here. It tells you which bit it is, but there's a lot to be playing with. But then again, if you know, some of us, you know, we'd rather, you know, you could spend 2 hours just putting on the masking set on glass, can't you?
yeah.
You know, it's
to get it right.
it is. Masking's always going to be a ball ache for any scale modeler, isn't it? All that glass. That's what kind of put me off. I love to do that Anson. That's one kit that I really want to have a crack at building. But the thought of doing all that glass frightens me. You know, it's you'll be there in a day and a half. Montex masking sets are my favourite, says John. That's interesting. Is aftermarket is aftermarket more prevalent in some subjects like ships? Yeah, it is. Definitely. There's a lot to be said for you know, especially masking up aircraft carriers and stuff. You've got all your there's a lot. Well, to be fair, there's a lot more photo etch involved in a ship, isn't there? You know, when you've got your conning tower and you've got your aliens, you know, they'll give you it in plastic, but you'll find a set around that will do it in photo etch.
Not being funny, it's all the anti-aircraft guns. It's having your Orlicons and your Bofors and all that. All the PE you get with those, it's quite easy to go onto one of the 3D printing sites called I think it's called MicroMaster. They do all the ships, and they are stunning quality. You can get the kits from there. Get the kits from them.
Yeah,
I think the other thing with, I mean, I'm thinking particularly the ships thing kind of started me off, but really it's more prevalent, I think, in armor. There's a lot more companies now, and I guess Dora Wings actually with that Ferry Delta is one, that are actually supplying a lot of what we would consider aftermarket now with the kit. So border models often supply turned aluminium barrels with their AFEs, etched brass, trumpeter. I have a lot of stuff in there. I was thinking of your favorite brand, Moss, I Heart Kit.
I Heart Kit.
But there was an HMS Hood that I sold in the shop, and that had a phenomenal amount. It had like a really thin wooden deck, you know, the self-adhesive wooden decks that they put in, fraction of a millimeter. It's 1/700 scale, you know, turned brass barrels for all of the guns, like 3 or 4 sheets of etched, all in, you know, and that is the kit. You know, it's not like you have to go out and buy it. And I suppose Edward and Dragon and stuff, they started doing that back in the 90s, but it's a lot more prevalent now.
I'd like to know why, when it comes to tanks, why people buy the barrels in brass. Because for me, but
they have fear of seams.
Yes,
you know what it is it? Because
it's just the money shot. You know, it's the barrel.
But once you painted it up and everything, you wouldn't tell the difference between a brass one or a plastic one, surely.
Having a metal barrel or a resin barrel or something, no matter how hard I try, no matter what, if I have a 2-piece plastic barrel, it is never, ever going to look as good as a metal barrel or a resin barrel. Period. Yeah.
Okay.
No matter how much time I spend trying to make it look great.
Yeah, I do quite like some manufacturers make their AFV barrels in multiple parts, but lengthways or horizontally. They split them. Like the Tiger One is a good example because you got that like short, fat bit, and then you got the second bit, and then you got the muzzle brake. They have to have really good attachment points though, because otherwise you can get misalignment, and then your gun kind of looks crooked, or
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest problem is the muzzle brakes.
Yeah.
On the guns.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're always two-part.
So difficult. Cleaning up a muzzle brake, if it's a two-part plastic piece, oh my God.
Now, saying that, this one's quite handy to scale.
Yeah.
That literally 1 part barrel and the muzzle brake was 2 parts.
Yeah.
Job done.
Excellent.
But it's...
Andy Wilson says, pretty normal to have PE in armor kits. UM models use PE to cheaply produce 50 different
Yes,
versions.
mini art.
Mini art do that, don't they? But the thing is, it's like, I've been watching a lot of Nigel because, I would, what they call it, is it kneading? He puts the... Kneading. He puts the photo etch under flame. And I thought to myself, that's brilliant. But I've never known that until I've seen him do it. I would never have done it. I would have been the guy there struggling to bend the brass. You've got to be careful.
The trouble is there's so much variation on the brass sheeting that they use for PE.
Yeah.
Because obviously brass comes in a certain temper. So you can get hard, half hard, and soft.
Yeah.
And if you get a photo etch sheet that's made out of the hard brass, when you go to fold it up, it will snap. So you have to knead it back to fold them.
I see. And like bend it. See, I've got one of these, which I bought in Master Tools. So it's, trumpeter. Let's drop the thing there. But I got one of these. Kit I got from Model Works last week. There's a piece there for this tractor that you've got to bend round and around, like an S shape. And that frightened me. I thought, bloody hell, how am I going to do that?
I'll tell you what I've got, Moss. It was sent to me for review, actually. I think it's downstairs. It's a solid, like, aluminium block. And it's got various different diameter cutouts in, and then it's got some steel rods. And you put the brass sheet in, and then you use the rod, or you can bend it around the rod.
Really?
It's handy, but they're expensive. Those tools are expensive.
Yeah.
On there. There's that one there is. And that bit there, all the way down and around. So basically, you bend it like an S shape. It says in the even shows you in the instructions.
I think you should build that on a live stream, Moss.
Right, frig that. There you go. There it is. There. That's where you're going to bend. Is that part there?
God. You see, that's evil.
There's so you got one which has got a very, very tight curve, more like a bend. Then you got this one here, which is I think R2.4 is the radius, is it 2.4? But to actually do it, you're like crumbs. That's going to take a bit of work to get that photo etch looking that good, isn't it? Surely.
Send it to Nigel. He's here now.
Nigel, keep bending this with me, Nigel. And that's the template for the mudguard. It's an incredible bit of, but why don't they? Oh, come in, mother. Why didn't they give you that in plastic? If you wanted to use photo etch, then give you the photo etch. That's another one I don't understand.
Yeah, I think sometimes forcing you to use photo etch is I don't like. I would love to have the option.
Did you build this one, Nigel? By the way, did you build this one?
No, I've got it, but I haven't built it.
What do you think of that photo etch around that? Then,
by the way,
hi, Nigel. What do you think of that bit of photo etch? Having to bend that? That's a hell of a bit of bending involved, isn't it?
Thunder Models PE is superb.
Is it?
It's like James just said. There are so many different types of brass, and generally, it's like Alex was just saying about that 1/700th I Love kit trumpeter hood. The brass in trumpeter kits is generally, I find, is crap. It's rubbish. It's like cheesecake. You try and bend it, it just breaks.
Yeah.
And which is why I've come on, because I've got so much opinion on Aftermarket.
You couldn't keep away.
But it's like but I always find Thunder Models is photo etch is more like copper. It's beautiful.
Fair enough. Well, I said I did my review on this kit, and then when I uploaded it and I watched it back, when the screen at the end come out with all the other channels, you'd already reviewed this kit years ago, Nigel.
I bought it when it first came out. Can you tell me, Moss, if you look at the cylinder head? If you look at the cylinder head, that's the top of the engine.
Yeah.
Does it have 6 or 4 spark plugs?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, they haven't. He emailed me and said, "Really sorry about that. I'm going to get that changed." And he hasn't done. So there we go.
6-cylinder needs 6, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The two middle spark plugs are missing. Let me sort my camera on it, because this is.
And also, that isn't heavy duty. That's a light duty one, because it's only got the single wheels at the back. Heavy duty would have had the twin axles on the back, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that wouldn't pull a Spitfire on wet ground. I shouldn't have thought.
No,
that wouldn't pull a skin off a rice pudding.
It says 1/32nd scale at the front, but the book says it's 1/35th. They can't make it up, you know. So. But as I said, the photo, that's what I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know how to bend it, because that's 3 bends you've got to do on that bit of photo etch. On that bit there, that's 3 bends.
Ross, it's not a starter set, mate.
I know it's not a starter set. But why don't they put in the plastic instead? Then you can make the choice.
I wanted to say, with photo etch, and I'm sure all of you will agree, and a lot of people in the chat will agree, I'm finding these days photo etch is becoming a pain in the ass. Photo etch used to be a little accessory they added, so you had like photo etch seat belts.
Yeah.
Maybe a photo etch part that was a piece of sheet metal on the back of the aircraft or something like that. And these days, especially Chinese manufacturers, they're putting photo etch in to sell the model. It's like 17 sheets of photo etch, and it's junk.
Yeah.
Oilfield model are the worst for it. Like on their Sherman tanks, there's like a towing bracket at the back, and you've got the plastic towing actual pin tool hook, but then everything around it is made of photo etch, and it is like you can't dry brush it. It's so flimsy. Give us a plastic option, you know.
I mean, and also it's like even back in the day, as it were, when photo etch was more prevalent than resin, you had a lot of things which photo etch wasn't really suitable for. I mean, just in terms of representing it. I'm thinking specifically of things like the German antennae for night fighters were often reproduced in 1/72 and 1/48 scale with flat photo etch. And it's just like, it wasn't flat. And 32nd scale, a lot of them went to like very fine turned brass, rods, because they were rods. And it's like, I think the plastic parts in the kit that these are replacing are actually better than the photo etch. So why would I go to all the trouble? So I think it's about, like you say, Nigel, if it's appropriate, like if you've got grill covers for your Tiger engine vents and stuff, fantastic. If you've got some towing hook made of 17 parts, forget it. Why would you?
That's it. It's like another thing they do. It's like in this Das Werk. Alex has already sworn, so I'm going to swear. Fucking 8.8 centimeter fucking piece of junk. Photo etch in there, and the only reason that photo etch is in there is because they forgot it in the tooling. There's a bracket that holds a fuel filter on the engine. They've made that out of photo etch. and there's a piece on the side of the 88mm gun which they could have easily molded on, and they've added photo etch because they forgot to do it in the tooling. You know,
I just think that if they're going to do photo etch, it should be the choice. Doing plastic, you know, it's like fair play to. This is what I'm saying about Airfix. You know, they took a lot of flack about the Ferret Scout because the back of the Ferret Scout has got slots when it should be like a grid system. You know, like the old 1 inch by 0.5 inch grid system, like a square bit. And they tried to mold it in plastic, and so they came to a compromise and just had the slots. And also, where you've got the protector that goes around the exhaust, people say it's too fat. It should be photo etch. Well, no. If you want photo etch, go out and buy it as aftermarket. You know, and once you know, the only people who noticed it were those who really cared about it. Said, "Oh, I should be photo." If you want it, then cut that bit out and buy the photo etch and stick in there. You give it, you know. But to actually photo etch,
people said the Spitfire seatbelts were crap because they're too thick. So what did I do? I thinned them out, and they look bloody gorgeous. They look really, really nice.
I mean, it's almost as though we have the choice, isn't it? It's just like, you know, you can either leave it as it is if you just want a simple build, or you can thin them down if you don't want to spend any more money, or you could replace them with something else. It's like, who would have thought?
Yeah. The SU-122 gives you a bit of net for the radiator grill. Yeah, I understand sometimes, you know, but the other day, I think it was Celtic West, or one of the guys from the model club, and you know, where you got the radiator at the front. If you paint that right and weather it right and add your panel line wash and everything, it doesn't matter that there's no holes there. It's not photo etch full of holes, because you've got the dark and the light. And you know, sometimes people think that you've got to get in close to see a model. I think the average is 6 foot away. You actually look at a model, don't you? You know what I mean? You get your model, you're looking at it. You're not getting up close, are you? Really? Do you know what I mean?
Well, go and look at my part 16 of the VOMAG. I painted that with very thin black paint.
Yeah,
it looks bloody great. Got the grey lines and the black. It just looks like it's sort of hollow, you know.
Yeah. But I think the people who complain about things like the Airfix ferret. I mean, the Airfix ferret is 25 quid. It's like, and you can buy it for about 23. So it's like, you know, if you're going to include photo etch in that, add another tenner onto it, and then it's just like you're into the £30 mark that, you know, a lot of other kits are. It's just like
the problem there is, Alex,
use that.
I personally believe with Airfix, there are people out there that are looking for something just to pick up on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Airfix. Yeah. You know, everything Tamiya produces, perfect. You know, I did that kit review of that 148th KT, and it's got sink marks in it. You can see the sink marks. You can feel the sink marks. That's not sink marks. That's shadows.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
If it was Airfix, another Airfix kit with sink marks.
Yeah.
The thing is, Airfix has its issues. You know,
yeah.
I don't think they're really mainly in the production of the kits. You know, in the design and the execution of kits. Yeah. The QC, we'll talk about, but I just think ragging on them for like not including photo etch.
Yeah,
they've made a decision. That's what they're going to do. That's the market they're doing. Like Moss said, if you want something else, buy aftermarket, or buy some mesh, do it yourself, do some proper modeling, as a lot of these people who kind of decry this would say. It's your hobby. Do what you want, but don't slag off the manufacturer for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way: you can pay more than the kit's worth in aftermarket on the ferret.
The kit Titanic, 1/200th Titanic. I've got about 1,600 quid's worth of aftermarket.
Oh, jeez!
Amazing.
I've got my Enterprise. The kit's like
grand.
100 quid. I've got the Pontos set, which is £500, and I've got the KA model set, which is £400. £1,500 investment for a bloody model ship.
I hope you got good insurance, mate.
I'll mention 2 points. Dave Evans just said their photo etch is 2-dimensional, so it's only suitable for certain things like grills and vents.
Yes.
Which is funny they say that because when Airfix had the KT when they had the KT, they had a little bit of photo etch, didn't they, for the side front, wasn't it? I've been to 3 model shows now, and that bit's missing because it fucking falls off, or you knock it and it comes off. And they joke about it. Yeah, I got that. It's that little bit of photo etch on the front, on the wing, and it's been knocked off. I think super glue is a really hard master. When you're trying to affix metal to plastic, you go with super glue. But super glue is very brittle at the end of the day, isn't it? Basically it's a solid substance. It attracts moisture in the air to come down and solidify. Yeah. Have you lost yours at the front as well, Nigel? Is it still there?
No,
It is.
no, because I'm a modeler, because I actually degreased it, roughed it up, and then used some decent super glue to stick it on. Same with that one up there on the top of the rooflet there with the red cross on it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with people? For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
They give you a photo etch. They don't give you any photo etch in the bloody whatever it was, the armored car. Oh, there should be photo etch. There should be photo etch. They put photo etch in there. Why have they put photo etch in there? It's like, for fuck's sake, you can't win.
That's true, Justin. That is very true. If you have photo etch in a kit, it makes it 14 plus. But there's a bit of irony to that. Because if you look at the quick builds, right? The quick builds are for 6 plus. As soon as it's Coca-Cola, 18. Can't say it to anyone under the age of 18. It's Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Advertising Coca-Cola. Sugary drinks.
Speaking of aftermarket, he's down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Captain VFC's popped in. There's the master. You like your photo etch, don't you, Sully?
I do. I very much do. And I don't think there's one. No, that's not strictly true. But there's very few kits. There's very few kits I will not buy aftermarket for. I've done probably about one or two recently that I haven't straight out of the box. But everything else, including this one, I buy photo etch resin. This has got actually both. In the cockpit. I don't know when it's going to come out on this.
I think after.
Yeah.
So I'll always get you bigger a minute, mate. Hang on, let's get you bigger.
That's just where it will focus is the problem. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got seats are resin. The belts are photo etch. The remove before flights photo etch. The control panels are what are they? 3D printed ones.
Yeah.
Which is the first time I've used them. All right.
You talk about the 3D water decals.
Well, you say water decals. I mean, I just popped them off and then just stuck them down with glue.
Oh, you didn't actually need to, because I thought they had to be used by water. That they come off the sheet.
Well, I've seen a few people that have said, just use some white glue, and I think it's in the instructions to use white glue.
What make are they? Sorry?
They are Edard, so that probably explains it, to be honest.
Right, because the only ones I know that have to use water is Quinta Studios.
Yeah,
Sir.
Oh, there you go. I've got the mirrors on the inside of that as well.
Nice.
Doing very well. They're a bit. Yeah, they're there.
They're better in plastic, to be honest, mate.
Nah, not the mirrors. I did. I'll tell you though, I did actually do it on. What did I have? It was a 30-second tornado, and I did actually make the mirrors out of plastic because I just thought I'd give it a go at the time. But for the scale it was, I can't remember. It was like 1 mil plastic or something like that, so it looked right anyway.
Yeah.
But,
Julian Hall says, I think aftermarket should be a choice. The basic kit should be accurate so it can be built out of the box.
Yep.
And if you want, you can add to it. It's called aftermarket for a reason. And I think that's a fair shout.
Yeah.
Shouldn't require it.
yeah, totally.
I think
That's one. Sorry, nice. Go on. You started before me.
Sorry. This is where aftermarket, I think, falls into a category that certainly me, I get really annoyed about. You'll get like a trumpeter 1/32 scale Su 27 and the nose looks weird. So you buy a resin nose because it looks weird. 99.9% people wouldn't even notice that kit nose looks weird. But trumpeter jets, they always seem to get the nose wrong, don't they? So you've got a choice there. Do I buy an aftermarket resin nose or not? Do I modify the kit part, whatever, just to correct it?
Or the glazing.
If there's a choice between resin and photo etch, it's resin every time. For me,
no, you can't say that, Moss, because if you're making, if you're making fenders for a tank, photo etch is going to look better than resin every single time. And also,
it's the right scale.
Over 3D printed resin every time. I love the detail of 3D printed resin, but I cannot stand its consistent. I don't like it.
No, you don't. You're old school resin, aren't you?
Yeah, but can I just say, it's like the guy said here about the choice. What really pisses me off is when you get things like the Airfix 148 Walrus, where the wheels are so full of sink marks, you have to buy resin wheels. You got the B24 Liberator, where the wheels are like a fucking egg, and you have to buy resin wheels. You know, that really annoys me. When you're forced down the road of aftermarket, if I choose to add a photo etch cockpit, if I choose to add HGW seat belts, that's my choice. But if I'm not going to modify those wheels to make them round again, I've got to buy resin wheels.
Yeah, it should be. The kit should be supplied. Well, you should get to Airfix and get replacement ones, Nigel. But I think
they're not going to do it. So,
no, but I think Edard have quite a good kind of business model in this respect. Now that they do the weekend edition kits, which are just the plastic, and then they have the Profi Pack versions where you've got all the etch. Although I have heard some of the parts that they make, even for the kits they produce themselves, don't quite fit. But
I'm finding that more and more lately. Photo etch part.
Which is another thing with photo etch, right? Because if it doesn't fit, it's really difficult to. I always find like you're trying to press it and then it will just ping off, and then you're looking in the carpet monster. But but I still think that's quite a good thing. Here's like just the plastic one, or here is it with photo etch. You can take your choice, and maybe there's a bit of a discount.
Here's one of the things I like about Edard is that there is an actual proper choice there to do either or. You haven't got with Edard, you haven't got to when they do their own stuff. But then again, sometimes the issue, I think you like already said it earlier, is fitting sometimes, because the instrument panels that I use for these, I had to trim some of them down because they didn't fit at all. The seats for this one, I've forgotten who I had them off the top of my head.
Is that the Tamiya one? Is it, Sully? Is that the Tamiya?
Yeah. It's the earlier one. The first one.
Surely you shouldn't have had to have cut those decals down to make them fit. You know what I mean? You paid some money there for those.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, actually, they came with they actually come with the all like the mirrors and stuff. So it was part of a set. So it actually wasn't that expensive. Okay. But yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have had to have done it. Yeah. But then again, the seats.
Why don't they produce this stuff and then put it in the model? And if it doesn't fit, modify the tooling, whatever it is they use, the program. Because
the seats I had for this
Edward etch on that A20 I'm doing, and none of it fits. It's like you could argue that I'm doing it wrong, but in the turret there's a strip of etch that replaces a plastic lump in the back of the turret, and it goes between the two uprights where the slots are for the guns to come out. So you roll it, and it's about 4 millimeters, about 2 millimeters too long. Clearly, nobody has tried to fit that on the kit. If it's a piece of brass and it's 2 millimeters too long and it goes between two pieces, it's not my mistake.
Yeah.
If it's a ship mast and I've done something and it doesn't fit, that could be my mistake. But
Yeah. Look at the seat on the Typhoon, Nige.
Yes, and if you remember, I actually physically showed you it would not fit it would not physically fit in the cockpit.
Correct.
And they told me, they came back to me and said, we don't understand what you've done wrong because we built that model and it was fine. No, you fucking didn't. Because that does not physically fit in those fuselage gaps.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Jess?
Andy Wilson just says, I think Airfix have got it right with the Shannon decal set. Most people won't care what name number their kit ends up with. Yeah, $9.99.
They don't.
That's free postage as well. And I understand that you're only buying it for one name, one number. But they said that whenever a lifeboat does get released and they have a new name or whatever, they will add that to the decal sheet and print more. So, they have an update. They're going to update that sheet. Because that Shannon class is going to be in every single lifeboat port. Or, port that has a lifeboat. We'll have one of those Shannon lifeboats.
You think about it as well. If there's 10 of you in your club and you're all going to build a model, you chuck a quid each in and you've all got a new name on your model,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you all want to do, unless you all live in like where there's, that model club and the local lifeboat station. Do you know what I mean? That's the only problem. But,
if your model club's in relief fleet, you have to worry then.
Yeah, funny enough, we ain't got any lifeboats in Gloucester.
Haven't you?
No. I don't know why.
Why we go back to the lifeboat? I just want to make sure that people do know that we have got the lifeboat range coming in stock this week for Outlaw Paints. I spent a bit of money on getting them across. I don't ever ship from Australia over by plane. It's expensive.
Do you have the colours for the relief fleet version?
The relief fleet, yeah.
Different colour, I think.
Different colour, yeah. That was so funny.
Would you do me a favour, please, boss?
Yeah.
When you promote these paints, particularly bearing in mind that one of the kits is a starter set.
Yeah.
I think you should make people aware that paint's not suitable for brush painting.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole website is basically saying airbrush ready lacquer paint. See, that's another ball game for me because when he releases those hand brush paints, that's a lot of money I'm going to be investing getting that hand brush paint across.
Yeah.
So, but he's, like he said, he hasn't released it because he hasn't got it right. When he gets it right, he will then release it. And I like that mentality of Jason. We've toed and froed about this yellow. The yellow. The yellow and the red is basically, for your anti-fouling at the bottom and for your strip, but you'll probably end up doing that using the decal sheet that comes with it. But that yellow is spot on for the uniforms they wear. The new Helly Hansen uniforms, that yellow, that's what that is. That's that colour. So it may be a little bit off on the stripe, but you won't notice it because you're going to have it next to the red. So your eyes will probably see it as a bit more orange than yellow anyway, because you've got that red strip as well. But we added it. We didn't want to bring out two different yellows, but we think that yellow is almost spot on for the unit. So if you got a load of, and they are releasing figures as well, not Airfix, but one of the companies have said they're going to be releasing a figure set for the lifeboats, whether you do the Shannon or the 7 class. So
you get like 67 figures per boat then?
I think it's 12.
Oh, I've never seen a lifeboat with 12 people on it.
Haven't you?
No.
I thought there was 12 to a crew, isn't it?
The ones I see on the news, they got lots of people on them.
Let's not go down that road. Apparently, Nigel, it's just your swear box because when you curse, she barks. she feels the anger.
Is that right?
Moss, I've been downstairs to get a battery for my mouse because it died. But whilst I was there, that is the Display photo etch bending tool.
Wow, that's it there, is it?
So it has various diameters.
Yeah.
You don't need it, Moss.
Really?
Brass. No. I've got one. I never ever use it ever.
Have you used it? Have you not used it yet, Alex?
I haven't. No.
No, you go.
I'm looking really for where to use it because so I was sent it for review, Nigel. I didn't buy it because they are expensive. The only thing I could think of is the Tiger One cowlings for the exhaust. I've got some etched brass ones of those, and I think they would actually make quite a nice way of doing
I
those.
just use a sanding sponge and a stick and roll it in. If you need a shallow bend, use something hard. If you need a really tight bend, then use something really soft like a sanding sponge.
Well, if you build that, Nigel, let me know how you get on with that, with the wings there. You know, I am
going to build it. It's just, it's just here.
It was just funny that as soon as I watched mine, yours came up in the box saying, you know, and I thought, oh, Nigel's done this one.
Yeah, I saw it come up and I was gonna comment, and I thought I'm not gonna say I reviewed that because that's like me trying to grab views off you. So I just didn't. I just left it. I don't know if you guys can help me. I've got major problems with YouTube at the moment. Maybe you can point me down the road. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. I click on a video, like I clicked on your live stream tonight, and it took probably 2 minutes before it started to flow. I was watching a video today. I commented, and it was a guy called Alex. And I said, great video, Alex. I could listen to you talk this shit all day long. Brilliant, mate. And then I sat there for about 5 minutes and watched my comment write itself out letter by letter. And I put a video on, and I'm getting the circle of doom in the middle of the screen. And then after about 2 or 3 minutes, it starts to work okay. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I've been getting that for a few days.
Have you? It's YouTube.
They're updating YouTube at the moment because they've changed the bloody home screen again, haven't they?
How do I do it?
Yeah, if you look on the home screen, it looks different again. They mess about with it every so often, but also it's always good practice. Like I do before I do a live stream now, I turn off my router for 2 minutes and turn it back on again.
Right.
I've done that a few times. You know, when things are getting a bit sluggy, because what it does when you disconnect the router, it then sends a feed back to the main box and like puts you up the level, like, you know, puts you up the chart sort of thing. Done that because people were saying that I was coming across sometimes as blocky. Now,
you do in streams, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah, but when I look, my actual connection to my modem when I do the test is always 4 out of 5 on the wishbone chart, if you know what I mean. When I get it on here, I think it's actually StreamYards are struggling some nights. I think StreamYard struggles because they've got so many people doing live streams. So sometimes it's not just you, but I've wired it in and I was getting blocky again. So I think, you know, but yeah, I think sometimes it's all a bit, you know.
So any of you guys, other than John, obviously he's in America, are you getting the same issue with YouTube?
No.
James
really, no.
I'll tell you one thing, though, with StreamYard is if you're using StreamYard's PC requirements are actually pretty high.
Yeah.
Because, I tried using it with Maria's got an old laptop that I use in the shop now. But I was originally, that's one of the reasons I'm inside, not out in the man cave, because I could have the laptop out there. I had all sorts of problems, and it was all down to the PC. PC couldn't handle StreamYard. So StreamYard, just look at what your minimum requirements are for StreamYard, because they are pretty high, let's say.
Yeah. Because we go on 1080p on this one. I pay the extra for the 1080p. But yeah, internet, you know, and also, you know, you've got that bit going from here to because we are actually broadcasting from the StreamYard server. This isn't coming from my server. This is coming. That's why there's that 7-second delay. It's going to the StreamYard, and then it grabs us all into one, and then it's out. And at the same time, we're recording onto their iCloud as well. So it's, you know, it's really good. It is a good system, but sometimes it does.
Yeah, you can't use a potato, Nigel.
No, you can't use a potato. But do you think that masks should be required as part where you've got your decals? There should be a masking set in kits these days. Do you think that should be? No, decals, but have a masking set as well for the glass. Should that become a standard model kit?
No. Some manufacturers do, and I generally find that most manufacturers that do, they don't fit. or they're a really material that peels off, or they're vinyl which shrinks. There's only one mask set as far as I'm concerned. That's ASK, which is what James said.
I think, I don't think that it's a standard part of a kit. It's, I mean, the thing is, if you're going to, what if you're a brush painter? I mean, a mask isn't terribly useful for that, you know. So again, that means somebody is paying for something they're not using, and learning how to mask is part of modeling. It will build up your skills. They're usable in other situations. You know, the control of your knife and all those kind of bits. So, I mean, you could just buy a corgi model. You know, it's done already. It's painted, but that's not what the hobby's about. So, yeah, I think if you want to use a mask, there are plenty available, and if they're supplied, that's great. You've got the choice. Yeah, but I don't think it should be required.
I think it depends on the model, to be honest.
Well,
that's true. Yeah, I was Anson, something like the Anson,
or the Sally, which has a greenhouse on its back.
Yeah, what's the?
I was just going to say,
Uncle 111.
I've just reviewed the ASK set for the Sally, and that has got something like, I think it's 119 different masks in that set.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's worth 10 quid all day long.
Absolutely.
Spending £7 on a mask set for a kit that cost £8.99 is a bit silly, isn't it? I just bought 2 mask sets from Hannah's, and they're HGW, and they're for 1/72 scale kits, and I'm saying no more than that at the moment. But they came with seatbelt decals because they're so good, rather than using the fabric, use decals for the seatbelts, and £7 for the mask and the seatbelts. I mean, you know, could have made the seatbelts, could have done the mask myself, but they do make you lazy.
I'm still hoping that some manufacturer will actually research whether you could make decal sets into masks. So you got that spare bit of paper, you could put in decal sets on mask sets on the decal that you peel off with the water and then slide them into position, let it dry. Once you've sprayed it all up and everything, they peel off. That's it. I think it would work. I think it would really work.
Now, how would you get them off?
With a toothpick, scrape them off. Which we had to go with it, didn't we, Sully? Alex, we thought there is definitely a mark. There is, you know, we cut up those boys did. I said, this is my idea. Could you, you know, where you got that spare space, why don't you just add decals and use the decals as masks? Because it'd be easy to slip on. Because they're wet, you would slide them into position, then they would dry flat, then you would do all your painting and everything, then you would take them off using a thing. And we tried it, and it did work.
Yeah, but for example, I've got decals on a kit that I'm trying to get off, and even Tamiya Extra Thin won't get them off.
The thing is, though, mate.
What did you put them on with?
They're like 4 inches thick, and nothing will touch them. And the kit's got raised rivets. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know. I think it would work because also, if you think about it, you're putting decals onto paint, then you're sealing it. When you're putting a decal on a shiny bit of clear plastic, I don't think the adhesive would be strong enough that you wouldn't be able to peel them off after you've done it.
Well, we managed to do it, didn't we?
We did it, yeah.
We all had a go at it.
Well, to be honest with you, like you say, Moss, decals do not stick well to bare plastic. That's one thing I argue with Quintus Studio. They tell you with their rivet sets, put them on the bare plastic and then put thinner on them to melt the carrier film down.
Yeah.
Decals do not stick well to bare plastic.
No.
I remember years and years and years ago as a kid, I built a Texaco Ford Sierra Cosworth, and the body was so glorious and shiny out of the box, I didn't bother painting it. Put the decals on it. Within a few weeks, they'd all peeled off. They'd all just lifted off. Yeah.
I think that's one of the advantages, though, that Moss is talking about with the sort of decal masking is because they adhere to start with. and it's nice because the transparencies are nice and shiny. Like you say, you can move them around and stuff, and they matte down and everything. Spray it up, but they're actually not really stuck. So actually getting them off, I didn't find getting them off was an issue at all. I don't know about you, Sully, but
no, straight away, pretty much.
Yeah, I put some water on, peeled up one edge, and it just peeled straight off. So
yeah,
I think you varnished mine. Remember,
you varnished yours, didn't you? Yeah,
I think I might have did, didn't I? I think I just
yours, yeah.
picked it with a knife underneath and come straight off.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because it's Vallejo varnish.
I must speak to Beacon. I must speak to Beacon again because when we talked about it on that stream, you know, I was, you know, he was like, "That's brilliant. Why hasn't anybody done this before? I'm going to go and test it." But he's never got back to me. So whether he did and he thought, "Fuck this," you know what I mean? But you know, I spoke to Pramjit about it, and he said, "Yeah, but once you seal it, you want to get them off." And I go, "Yeah, but." When you put a decal down, you're putting it if you put a decal down, normally it goes onto the paint, and basically the setting solution is burning that decal roughly onto the paint. But when you're putting a decal onto a clear, smooth plastic canopy, you know, it's a no-brainer. It should just get with little cocktail stick. Edge it off and it'll come off, and then you've got and the best bit is, you know, how many times have you been there with that tiny little bit of mask tape and you're there and you're like, oh, I missed it, put it off, put it back on, put it up, and then get it right, and then you put your finger on it, and then so you got grease on your canopy then, haven't you? With a decal sheet, you cut around, you know, it comes off, you just slide it into position.
Yeah, you say that much, but you know, you've got a thin piece of, if you've got a canopy like a Phantom or of F14, the mask will generally be a thin strip that goes around the edge, and you use film to mask because it's a compound curve. So your decal would be a thin strip, the same as the masking tape. And as soon as you slide it off the paper, it's all going to want to, you know.
There are ways around that, though. You could not make it a thin strip and just have like sliced inserts into it, or make it multi-piece. You know.
I just thought it'd be a good idea.
I think it's worth exploring for them.
I think it'd be good for stuff like Spitzer Hurricanes and stuff, like the old school stuff. Because like with
replacing masking tape, because it's masking tape.
But the thing is, Nigel, my argument is that wouldn't it be cheaper, and you could actually add it because you wouldn't be having to produce anything else. You've got your decal sheet, and there's always space. This is at the bottom of the paper, and they have to be black. There's no color in it. They'll just be black. Blah 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 blah. Then you dip that in the water. You know, they come off with the water. Then just slide them on to the canopy where you want them, and then
tell you what, Moss, we should just make a company, make them, and I'm sure we'll get a group of people who love them, and there'll be a group of people who absolutely hate them and say they're shit.
They'll be like, I'll just go back to 3D print them. We'll 3D print them next time for you, like, you know. I think I dreamt out one night. I just thought, well, why? Because I'll tell you the story. What happened when I did that very first P51B? I had it on the shelf for a year, and I went to wipe off the dust, and the bloody decal, the roundel for the American star came off, and you could see the outline where the gloss had been, and then when the matte had been on top. And I thought, if that comes off that easy, why can't you just do and use them for masking up canopies and wheels? And that's where it first came into my mind. I thought, well, it's left that beautiful round circle there. Just asking.
I guess the other thing is the carrier film would have to be, it's not the printing that would have to be perfect, it's the carrier film that would have to be perfect for the edge to be in the right place.
But a lot of cartograph is on the edge now, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of what those flags on the tail fin, what they called again? You know, like the
flashes.
The flashes on there, yeah. If you look at the cartograph one, the carrier film doesn't overlap. It's perfect to the,
Right.
the cartograph. It's no extra cost, is it? Because they've already got the decal. Because Airfix told me it doesn't matter how many decals is on the sheet. It's the size of the sheet that they buy. So they could have 100 on that sheet, or they could have 5.
I mean, continuing on the subject of masks. I mean, for years and years, Tamiya have been giving us masks that you have to cut out yourself.
Yeah.
What's that all about? I mean,
So I had them for this. They come with this one, right? All my mask on this, I've done myself.
Yeah.
Because, like he says, that's a doddle. That one's easy. You put a strip a lot across there, easy. Yeah. The front ones, put some masking tape. I think I use masking tape. Burnish it down with a cotton stick, and then very lightly go over it with a knife up against the edge of the frame. I know it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Don't get me wrong, because you can easily slip, and I've done it. But if you get as close to the canopy window as possible, there's a good chance you should be able to follow it down, and it shouldn't be an issue.
I mean, I tend to mask my own canopies, and like Mortlicker has put, or Mortlaker, I don't know how you say that, but like he's put there, it's
Mortlicker.
It's like, it's masking is fairly basic modeling stuff. You cut thin strips of Tamiya, like Sully's done there, to go around the canopy. The problem I usually have still, after God knows how long modeling, is the little triangular windows on cockpits, which are rounded at the edge. You can't use little fillets. And also think of people who are new to the hobby. So, I think there's a place for both. I don't think it's a case of like you can't have masking sets because you're not a real modeler kind of thing. But on the other side, there's plenty of to be said of actually giving it a go yourself.
Yeah, and also,
or think of people who have have got a disability.
Yeah, like Zizan's come on. This is fine for flat surfaces, but how would your decal idea perform on compound surfaces? The thing about decals is that they kind of
they do stretch a bit.
Yeah, they stretch and they shrink into what they need to be. How many times have you put a decal on over a bump in the plane and it's gone down perfectly? Over rivets, even. You know what I mean? They do adhere and they suck into what they're being put on. So, as I said, I just think that there is something in it, but the only way to do it is to actually a manufacturer say we're going to do it. So, as long as I get 5p for every decal sheet for my idea, then that's all right, because then I could buy more outlaw paint. So, carrier film on decals. I saw one YouTube a day or so, an instrument panel decal had carrier film across what's supposed to be a cutout for a gun sight. That's that Airfix kit, isn't it? Isn't there an Airfix kit that has that? Isn't that on the Zero?
But again, just let it dry and cut it out with a knife.
Yeah, that's it.
It is a pain sometimes, though, the way that carrier film is done on some decals. Like you just think, well, if they could have just cut it around because they know it's got to conform, and you will get a bit of conformity. But if you've got a piece sticking out, it's never going to conform. So you're going to have to cut that film before putting it down somehow. So I get what people mean.
Is the border model Lancaster. It looks like an instrument panel decal. It's about this big, 32nd scale. And when you actually put it in the water, you will see that it's actually like strips. And it's like fingers of dials. And as soon as you take it out, it all goes. Be careful, boys. Cut it into.
I thought you were going to say it was individual dials that you just saw them all floating up.
Not individual. They did that with the 109, but with the. It's like they get these tips and they listen to people talking. You need to make it as one decal. Okay, we make one decal. And it's like a strip of dials, a strip of dials, a strip of dials, instead of just
good intent but not tested. Yeah.
Sorry?
Good intent but not tested.
Yeah, you've clearly built lots of models in your life, haven't you?
Fine point, but you're into the territory of the decal shrinking too far and exposing the window surface. So I've only ever had decal shrinkage when the decals have been bloody thin, when they really are thin. You know, who was it who produces thin ones? Bloody hell, which one was it? They were so thin that, you know, if you were so careful, they would just break. I think it might have been Academy. Their decals are quite thin sometimes, aren't they?
I'd love to see the different manufacturing processes because
Yeah.
all the kits in the world, decals are probably the biggest shift from being absolutely, utterly shit to being the best on the planet. I mean, I personally think Airfix cartograph decals are better than cartograph decals.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because
You're the
cartograph.
first one who said that, though, Nige.
Yeah, but I mean, those, whether they're Airfix or cartograph, they're both really good. And the thing is with the properties of those is that they will slide slightly on the surface, but they're very thin and conforming. I find ICM decals are really thin and conforming. They do not slide.
No.
So you put them on, you better get them in the right place, because unless you put some extra water under there, they're not moving. Tamiya decals, we all know, are as thick as cardboard.
Yeah, and they don't.
They're usually easy to move around, but you know,
hobby bosses,
they don't conform very well. So it's really interesting.
Border model decals are really nice. They're really thin. They're really tough. But if you put micro set down, that's it. It's
really.
Oh, it's like you've super glued it in place. It will not go. It will. You can't get a brush under it. It's just like it's gone down. It's a nightmare. You go look at my Stuka build. Oh God, how I get. I mean, that's how good they are. On the side, the German cross. What do you call it? The German cross.
Balkan cleats.
That's it. It just like it rolled over about 3 times on itself, and I managed to get back and still move it around, and it's perfect. Wow. You know, a lot of decals would have just crumbled up.
Stephen Sheet says Academy decals are thick, but do you know what? Right, if you're doing a 737 and you've got a really long 100-meter line, you want them thick. You want them thick. If it, you know, like I said, that Concorde I did, the Airfix one, the BOAC one, I regret trying to get it down in one go. I should have just cut that blue line up into 3 or 4 stages, then stuck them down, decal them down, because it was an absolute nightmare trying to get them straight. But you touch one end and the other end would go up, and then it was like, you know, yeah, honestly, it was not good.
That there, Alex, if I were you, I would, where you've put it, get your finger and rub it over the top of it, and it should start to roll up. It's basically like, I think it's the PVA release agent people use when they mold fiberglass. I've got here. Is it the stuff you've used? I thought so. Yes, I had got some. Is it this one you've used?
Where's hang on.
Is it that stuff? Yeah, it's very, very good, but it is very difficult to get off. The best masking fluid on the planet, in my opinion, is that one. The MS liquid mask. It is awesome.
Yeah. But then I've always used Masco. I thought Masco was good. The only problem with Masco is it dries out too quick.
Yeah.
And it's got ammonia in it. It's got ammonia in it. You'll be very careful with using it over paint. But
yeah, and the thing is with Mascol is some solvents will go through Mascol, so be careful what you varnish with.
Bloody hell.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah,
sometimes yes.
That's the stuff. I've recently used it. If you watch my revisited series on the Lancaster, I've used it to mask parts of that, and I show you I've taken it off with a toothpick, and it is a bit hard. But once you get one edge up, it just peels away.
Yeah,
you just get one corner up.
The worst thing about Mascol and some of the other latex masks is when you get, say, a round window that you've masked with it, and you spray and you pull it off, and it's gone into the little seam between, and it pulls up, and you get like a little thin thing, and then it snaps back.
Yeah,
you pull it. That is so frustrating.
Yeah.
I like working with decals. However, stencils are just evil. Stencils are, you
Get
know.
stencil masks from One Man Army.
You like One Man Army?
Mm.
Sorry?
They produce really nice results, those stencils.
You like One Man Army, do you, Nigel? Is it good stuff?
I've got, I think every set he's made, he sends them all to me for review.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple here, just a couple to, where are we?
Yeah.
I've got a couple there, a couple of 7 or 8.
Let's go.
Show you. He's starting to do generic sets now.
Oh, nice.
So one of those there is just roundels. One is just lettering. One is just serial numbers. So you can do like any 48 scale Spitfire Hurricane you want with the size roundels we used and the different periods and all that. So
What's it like getting the middle right then? Are they centralized, are they, those masks?
there's 2 different ways of doing it. They will either come in early days. If you go look at Zinzad's build of his Spitfire, they used to put the masks in a square. So you had the little red circle, you had the white bit, you had the blue bit, and you had the yellow bit, and they were all an identical size square. So you could overlay the square over the top of each other, and it would all line up perfectly. These days, what he tends to do, if you go look at my videos, he tends to give you like a square with all the innards and then some separate innards. And I've done videos on how you can spray the decal first and then mask up and paint the camouflage over it, or you can put each one in, spray it individually, or you can build it up so you end up with like yellow, blue, white, red sort of thing. But they're far superior to decals. But I will say, even though he sends me all that stuff for free and I do review them and I love them, the Airfix 124 scale Spitfire, those decals in that kit are perfect. Aren't they, Alex? They are. You could chuck them in a bowl of water, riff the paper out and go flick onto your model and it would go down beautifully. They're just beautiful.
And the spare ones you can use to mask the canopy with, because I did that.
I use the art scale kit on mine on the inside and the outside. And, it looks fantastic when you've got the inside painted green and the outside.
Question: do you know if Airfix will actually have their D-Day fighter set out in time for D-Day? Not very far away now. Watch your space. I think they are due in this end of the month. There's 3 things coming in at the end of the month. I think one of them is the Shannon Lifeboat, the D-Day set, and one other, which is
that the one with 5 fighters in?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's the stand in it that's brilliant. I like the stand.
How much is the kit?
49 quid in it for 5 kits.
That's amazing. I've just paid $19.99 for one 1/72 scale fighter.
Really? Wow.
No, I've paid $39.98 for 2 1/72 scale fighters.
Airfix D-Day. I've not had the email from Jadlam, so they're not actually in the country yet, so that's all right. Yeah, the D-Day fighter set. Yeah, $49.99 and 5 kits. You get the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9C, 26 parts. The North American P51D Mustang, 53 parts. The Messerschmitt BF109 G6. You get the new Hawker Tempest Mark V, which I love building that kit. I think that's a lovely 1/72 scale kit. You know,
must get my one finished.
Is that a starter set?
It's not a starter set. No, the Tempest one is not a starter set. Definitely
I noticed you just said 52 parts for the P51, so they're not giving you the new starter set.
No, it's the other one.
Right.
2012 release.
I think that I don't think any of the starter set ones are in here because, and I say
you just
no,
said 26 parts.
Yeah, but the Mark 9C 26 parts, that isn't the new starter set version. That's the old Mark 9 tooling. That is
An old dog.
It's an old dog, but I think the reason why they didn't put the starter set ones in is that they're not designed for that stand. They have their own shadow stands, don't they? So they've got a big nugget at the bottom of them, haven't they?
Mhm.
For that shadow stand. Where these have got the two, you drill the two pilot holes underneath, and the stand's got two little pins that go inside the stand.
Nice.
I said to Dale when I was up there, it'd be nice if they redesigned the stands because it is like the Star Trek logo, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That Star Trek badge. And he said, yeah, but they've had them for years, haven't they? I think that stand, if you buy it now, it's still got the old Airfix logo on it.
They should do a short Sterling Reeboks with the Dakota with a long narrow stand that you could put them on and have the Sterling toe in the Dakota.
That would be excellent. That would.
Sorry, Sterling toe in the Dakota.
Also,
Dakota toe in. Why would you toe it?
On the subject of D-Day invasion stripes, do you prefer to do them as decals or paint them yourselves? Now, on the Tempest, I purposely used the decals, and I was blown away how well they went down. The decals on the Tempest for the invasion stripes were absolutely fantastic. If you watch my video, but I'm somebody who used 3mm Tamiya tape. Do the white first, and then go over the white with the 3mm, 4mm, 3mm is it?
Did the Tempest have invasion stripes, or did it have identification stripes?
The invasion stripes.
Because the Typhoon's got, people think they're invasion stripes, but they're not. They're identification stripes. Because the British Coastal Command were shooting them out of the sky because they thought the LFW were movies. So they had to put stripes on them.
Mike D, here's one for you, Nigel. How does one go about annealing pre-painted PE? Thinking of Edard's seatbelts here.
You can't. You can't unless you want to paint them again.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Edward, if they're steel, they'll go down lovely. But if they're brass, the paint's all going to peel off when you bend them anyway. So you may as well anneal them.
Yeah. Whilst the Tempest, what scale and what manufacturer? Thanks. That was the Airfix one. If you go on my channel, look up Airfix Tempest, you'll see me build it as a time lapse build of it. But I was really impressed with the decals because the bit I don't like about spraying up manually is that when you're trying to do the undercarriage doors, you got to get them spot on. And if you've already built the canopy up or you built the undercarriage up, it's very difficult. It's like that was one of the craziest moves that Airfix ever done with their Wildcat. Was that you had to decide right from the very beginning whether to have canopy up or down, because you had to build the canopy just as you were built the undercarriage. You had to do the undercarriage before you'd even put the fuselage together. It was so in the beginning of the build, wasn't it? On that, is it the Wildcat, wasn't it?
As for the invasion stripes on the undercarriage doors, Moss, it doesn't matter if they line up or not. Some did, some didn't.
Yeah, I get that. But with the decals, Jonathan Mock designed them absolutely for. I put them down, and I only actually used Michael Set. I didn't even use the sole on them, just Michael Set on top, and 20 minutes later they were perfect.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I personally believe Airfix have got the best kit supplied decals on the planet, and I think Alex, they're absolutely, they are just the best.
I did the Hawker Hunter, and the Hawker Hunter's got quite complex undercarriage bay doors.
Yeah,
I think there's like the inner folding bits, and then there's two outer pieces. And I did it wheels down, so the number. The great big post-war RAF like XC724 or whatever it is goes across those bay doors differently on each side as well. Airfix have done the decals, so they provide two versions, a complete one and one broken down into all those pieces. And some of them are only like a tiny bit, like a few millimeters and stuff. They all fitted perfectly. Absolutely unbelievable. Because I was just like, this is going to be a mare. And it wasn't at all. It was a delight. Really, really good. So the only criticism I have of Airfix decals is all of the bloody little stencils. There are hundreds of them. So
Brilliant.
many.
Yeah.
Which is great, but oh god, it gets a ball ache after
the 1/32 scale F4, Alex. I get the aftermarket stencils. I think there's 197 decals.
Just no. Nobody wants to be putting on 100 2mm decals.
There's
Yeah,
a few of these.
Yeah.
I know that Tomcat crumbs. Hello.
I'm looking forward to it.
I seem to remember putting the decals on a
silly.
Shackleton. And
Well, we already know that.
Are they the Tamiya decals? Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you going to use them?
Yeah. I personally, right. I honestly, yeah. Well, we all know that. I've all got mental issues. I've never really had any issue. Old ones, yes, but the newer ones, I don't think they're all that bad.
Have you built a 1/32 scale Spitfire?
Not a Tamiya one, no.
It's like the decals in that. They're like you trip over them when you walk across the wheel.
Yeah. See, that's why I don't do 70-second.
30-second.
Oh, 30-second. Sorry. No, the one I did was Revell. Yeah,
James Willard. I don't get how Tamiya can make such nice kits but supply decals that behave like I've knitted them. The thing is, though, is that we've got the same issue with Edard. And, you know, if Airfix make a mistake, it's like somebody's whistled at church or you've grabbed somebody's wife's boob. You know, they really go to town. But, you know, people, you know, Pete Oxley, you know, he can't get over how crap Edard decals are. And it's
they're not crap. The thing is that they're not crap. They're just a little bit more work than they need to be.
Yeah.
Because if you pull that off, if you watch Modelling Weekly, who has said that if you use white spirit, so a little bit of damp white spirit over the top, and rub it, and it will rub straight off, right? But I mean, I've done it. I haven't done it with that, but I've done it a couple of times. And
every single person I've seen do that, there's always that little bit of decal that comes off on the film.
I'm not saying no. This thing, I've had really mixed reviews using them. I have had issues where a lot of it's stripped off, and in some ways, obviously, because I do the way I do a lot of my stuff. The way sometimes it peels off, it looks awesome. It'd be really good for one in a graveyard, But of course, like for 99.999% of people, they don't want that. Totally get it. But if you can get it bang on, my God, do they look good? They look like you've actually airbrushed them on.
Have you got any spare ones left, Sully?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Would you do me a favour? Would you do the same thing and try it with lighter fuel, please?
I've got that as well.
I've had people say use lighter fuel, but
because I've got a load of AS. I think I sent some to you, didn't I, James? Some ASK decals.
No, you sent me a couple of mask sets.
I thought you had some decals. The ASK ones, you use lighter fuel, and it comes off beautiful, and it leaves the decal perfectly behind.
So how have they done it? How have they manufactured these so that the film can come off that easy? Then
they print the decal first, and then they spray the carrier film over the top.
Right.
Whereas normally what they will do is print the carrier film and put the decal on the top.
Oh, I see.
But you can do it with normal decals. You can use enamel thinners and get the film off. You've got to be really careful. I've done it with some Revell ones, and the ink is on top of the carrier film, and you end up with a clear decal.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Other ones, you start to rub it, and it all just comes away. But the ASK is lighter fuel.
So does the Airfix do that? The cartograph ones on Airfix, they're printed on top of the carrier film, then, are they?
I don't think they are. I think I've got my. You don't want to try it on there. Mind you, I painted these red crosses on anyway.
Use Tamiya for that because Tamiya's spot on, isn't it? That red from Tamiya is spot on.
Yeah, I put the decals down and I didn't like it. So it was too bright.
I think Jonathan Mock did that on purpose.
Did you see this?
Did he?
You see this on mine? Look.
Mm.
Hinged doors with fully detailed interior.
Look at that. You don't get that with a 148 Tamiya, do you, Nige?
You don't get that with Airfix either, I did it.
Yeah.
You glue them open or shut. I made some hinges. I absolutely love that model. I love that. That's one of my favourite models I've ever built. It's beautiful.
I gave mine.
With that kit.
I gave mine to Celtic West to do, and he said it was absolutely outstanding. And he said, you know, I've got the truck here to do as well, the general service truck, where they didn't bother putting the name of the KT on there, did they? They did that instead. They said,
Do you remember when we were at Bristol last year, boss?
Yeah.
That guy came and spoke to us, and he said he built that truck, and there's an issue with the chassis being too long or too short.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think
it's mentioned anywhere else.
But the thing is, though, is I don't think he built an Airfix one because it wasn't released by then, though, was it? It was released later on in the year.
No, he built the Gecko version.
He built the Gecko version.
Gecko released it at the same time as they released their KT.
Right. I've got the Gecko version. You know, I don't want to build it because that's lovely. Why build the Gecko one?
Watch Nigel's video on it. Not Nigel's. Gary Stuff's video on it. I think he done a better job with the Airfix one than he did with the Gecko one. I'm not saying he was crappy. I'm just saying that the Gecko one was very overcomplicated compared to the Airfix one.
That's a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier. There's photo etch in there. They don't need to be photo etch.
Don't need it. No.
You don't need photo etch brackets to bend up for the stretchers when they're sat on top. It was like, for God's sake.
Yeah. I think Gecko, and because Gecko didn't pay for the licensing, they were able to ship it out £15 cheaper. That's the difference with a license. £15, you know, yeah. And if you talk to anyone, have you built the Gecko one yet? No. If you go to a model shop and they have the Gecko ones there and the Airfix one would have sold out, but the Gecko one is still on there collecting dust.
That's probably only because people know Airfix. They don't know they think, who's that? You know?
Yeah.
Bit wary. Yeah. Probably justified as well, to be honest. I've never built one, but
Mike D, yep, there are contemporary photos of mops being used to apply the yes, this debate will rage on is more than whether we should have pilots in a kit or not. This debate will go on. But if you go to the what's it called? The Royal Navy, the one in Yeovilton, RAF, RNAS Yeovilton. They've got Korean planes there, Corsairs, with perfect invasion stripes on them.
Yeah.
Perfect invasion stripes. That's what
I
they
have
did.
Never seen, people talk about using mops. I have never seen a picture of people using mops. And I stand to be corrected if somebody's got one.
Yeah.
Seen them using brushes, and they go roughly around the angles and all that. It's not perfect like we do them, but I've never seen them using mops.
No. I've seen them using mops for winter wash.
Yes.
But I've never seen them using the mops for the camouflage. I've seen them using paintbrushes for the invasion stripes.
I want to try something to get that look, but I'm not going to mention it now. But I'm going to try something and see if it works, and then I'll make a video on it. But I reckon whatever you try, it's just going to look like you're shit at masking.
Yeah,
I can say that I've done one, and because I made the mistake of asking this question on the Facebook group, and what I put was, does anybody know the best way to paint invasion stripes as they were painted, you know, with wheat paint and yard brushes and all that sort of business? I got about 30 comments telling me that they were painted on with yard brushes with wheat paint. I was like, I know that's not what I asked you, how to do it. Somebody actually gave me a proper decent answer, and he says, paint it with the paintbrush first, like they would have done at the time, you know, actually painted on with the brush, and then very lightly airbrush it, and then it fills in all the gaps, and it looks just right. You got to pay attention to it, like really light coats, but it is doable because I did it on a mosquito.
But what about the edges?
I didn't touch the edges. I painted it with I think I painted it with like a number 2 brush. I think just slopped it on with some really weak paint, and then just filled in the gaps. Just literally, I didn't bother with the outside. I just filled in the middle parts.
I stand to be corrected. I was wrong. There's a picture of a guy doing it with a mop.
Yeah, but how modern is that photo? That's a modern
That's
photo.
from the Moose Peterson gallery. That is, so that's all legit pictures.
Thank you.
I don't know. That
But the
looks modern
point
to me, to be
being,
honest.
is that, to be honesty, you're from a 1-to-1 scale.
Leave that picture up, please, Ross. Leave that picture up because I've got a question. Go on.
The what's it called? The at 1-to-1 scale, you will see the brush finish. At 1-to-72, you wouldn't see a brush finish, would you? If you shrink it all down, so that wavy line will probably be straight. Do you know what I mean? In 1/72 scale.
The question I want to ask: there is no way on this earth that guy has got that line on the edge of that black and white with that mop. No way on this planet.
No,
I don't think that's. I think that's a modern photo. Being honest with you, that looks like a modern photo to me.
do you think so?
It looks way. I mean, don't get me wrong. The old black and white photos are pretty sharp, and when the colorized, they're good. But then that looks for the size of it that I'm looking at. That looks like a digital photo to me. Modern digital photo.
No way on this earth that guy could get that edge with a mop. You try and think about it. You're stood there. You're not even pulling the mop towards you. You're moving it sideways, and you've got all those long strings. You try and do that. No way.
That's modern. That is. That's the modern. I'd put money on that. He's masked down the sides. It's masked down the sides, I think.
It's the Moose Peterson Gallery, which is the restoring
Oh, there you go.
aircraft.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
We've used a mop there. I'm just looking through Google image, that's all, and that's what came up. But I thought they were original.
There's plenty of them doing it with brushes, like hand brushes.
That's what I've got.
They look like wallpaper. They look
And to
like
be honest,
paste.
that guy doing it with a mop seems to be doing a better job than some of these brushes. To be honest,
Yeah, it doesn't look right, does it, Alex? That guy with the mop, that just doesn't look right. I mean, maybe they've done it with a brush first, and then he's just filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
Or is
yeah,
he
that makes more sense.
Is he mopping the wing down to clean it? Is he removing the stripes because they used to wash them off? Is he wiping the stripes off? You know.
Yeah. No, that one's a content.
Well, not being funny, Nige.
Photo.
Go on.
That one's an
You've got
interesting
lots of those wing leader books.
Yeah.
And they've all show you them doing the evasion stripes with a paintbrush.
Yes, that's what my references are. I've never seen any of those books. I got another one today. I don't know if anybody knows what Wing Leader have just put out, but this just came in the post. Don't know what it is.
See, there's a guy who took his time, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the
And
one.
to be fair, if you look at that, if you look at that picture, if you see,
hold on a minute. It looks a bit like Alex, that guy.
Yeah.
He's got the evasion stripes on the order.
If you look here, though, all fairness, he's not just painted white down and then done the black. He's actually painted white, then black, then white. So he's done the blacks first and then filling in the white. He hasn't put the white down in one big block. He's done black, then he's doing white and then filling the white. So, you know.
Click that one that I put in the chat, Moss.
Yeah, let's have a look at that one. Hang on.
That's an interesting one.
I'm going to have to copy and paste that, aren't I? Hang on. Am I going to copy and paste that? I can't do it. I can't do it, mate, actually. I can't do it. You'll have to send it to me on... I can't copy and paste that link.
No, it's because it's a core one. Yeah.
Can you do it? Can you share your tab at the bottom?
Of course, Moss, the other thing to remember, as I said earlier, stripes on a Typhoon under the wings, the identification stripes, they were perfect. They were masked perfectly.
Were they?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I just sent it to you in Discord, Moss.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Hurry up, I'm dying for a piss.
Hang on. Present.
Cheers, Julian.
Bye, Julian.
Cheers, Julian.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Share screen. Chalk. He's used chalk, I guess, is he? They're filling
Probably
in the
chalk
chalk.
line.
That's paint. He's painting that, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he has marked it out. Is that masking tape?
Or
I
a
think
plumb
that-
line. He's used
think that's-
plumb.
I think that's that. What's it called? That real heavy duty stuff. That duct tape stuff.
Interesting, isn't it? He hasn't got the width quite right on all those. That one
But
behind him.
If you look at some of those wing leader books, like James mentioned, you'll see in there a lot of them where they literally painted around the roundels and stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And then, of course, about 2 months after D-Day, they had to get rid of the upper surfaces, and some of them washed off, and some of them were painted over. So you got fresh camo paint over those stripes, and in some instances, you can see the stripes through the camo. There's millions of weathering things you can do with it.
Yeah.
Is that Norman Wisdom? Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
A little bit.
When I'm
It looks like
painting
he's got a jug of paint in his left hand, and he's got a great big brush in his right hand. And I'm trying to work out how that bloody brush fits in that jug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Pour
point.
it out and spread it around.
Yeah. But you said you're right. If there is a picture of somebody putting it on with a malt, then fair play. But like you said, that's a fake picture. Then it's my bad. I just looked it up. I went on there and thought, oh, look at that. It's,
I don't agree that is a fake picture. I think it could be genuine. But
yeah.
No,
I'm
it's a
not
genuine picture, but it's of the restoring of Dakota.
right.
Oh, right. Okay.
On the
It's the
Dutchess.
same as people say the P61, the B25, the A20, the B26, the A26 all have the same wheels and tires. No, they don't.
No. Invasion stripes, isn't it? There's arguments 2 and 4 in it. You know what I mean? But let's say when you do 1/72 scale, a wavy line is going to be straight anyway. If you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still do them imperfectly.
that's it, isn't it? Well, folks, that's it. We've been on an hour, 2 hours. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's up to 10 o'clock. I need a wee as well now, actually, to be fair.
I
You
am.
mentioned it.
Bursting. I don't think I'm going to make it to the bathroom.
Steady on. Race to the
Has
garden.
Jess got any bottles down there?
Sorry?
Has Jess got any bottles down there you can use?
I've got her little tuna fish tin with her treats, and I could use that.
Not much of a treat after that.
I'll pour them out first.
That was a good debate about PE and resin and all sorts. We'll have to do that one again sometime. We'll get. I know Luke said he was. I said about the topic tonight, and he goes, "I do like a bit of aftermarket." You know, I said I'm not going to lie. I like resin wheels. I do. I love a good resin wheel.
Get the B24 then from Airfix because you need them.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
And the rush.
Anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care all, and night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Whee!